Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 35 of Let's Talk Immigration. I have not prepared a big agenda for today. I'll give you a few updates in some of our group cases, and then we'll go straight to question and answers. First of all, Gomez, DV 2020, Good Luck and Ray, DV 2021. I do not have an update. Okay. We are still awaiting the outcome of the Biden administration's appeal of the DV 2020 and DV 2021 orders, that 3-judge panel that had a hearing in September. We're waiting for them to issue an opinion of Judge Mehta and Judge Chutkan's orders on whether or not they uphold them or whether they overturn them. That has not happened yet. So that I do not have an update for DV 2020 and 2021. Okay. Asylum Seekers versus Johnson is the next case I wanted to talk about. That is a group lawsuit that we filed on behalf of the victims of ICE's data breach in November. I was going to let you know that we do have a small development in that case, and that is the defendant, the first named defendant, which was Tay Johnson, has retired. So this case is now asylum seekers trying to assure their safety versus Leck Leitner. Leck Leitner is the new guy, okay? And we filed a substitution of parties with the court yesterday, on Monday, on the 3rd, letting the court know that Patrick P.J. Leck Leitner is the new acting director of ICE, so he is our first named defendant. So it's now asylum seekers versus Leck Leitner. I'll have to practice saying that, I think. Okay. Next group cases I want to talk about, Sonny and Santos, which were originally part of the plaintiffs, and Sonny and Santos were originally plaintiffs in a lawsuit called Jacob that we filed in the Northern District of California in early 2021, and it didn't work out. And then we refiled in the Eastern District of New York those two cases. And I had my assistant check to see how many of those cases are still waiting on outcomes. And it looks like we have 23 of those cases are still at NVC. 14 are ready. We're looking at the SEAC statuses. And 10 are in AP. And that's for all the former Jacob plaintiffs that are now in Sonny or Santos. Also, there's a lawsuit called Wilson that's just 4 F2As that are very similar to those two cases, also filed in the Eastern District of New York and also before Judge Kogan. And an update on that case is 6 of those originally 89 couples are still at NVC. 4 of those cases are ready, and 4 are in AP. Okay. And that's over the last couple of days. So it could be changing. So those cases, we're not going to dismiss them because we still have plaintiffs who do not have visas, right? Who are entitled to those visas, who are entitled at least to the interview to find out if they can get those visas. And but procedurally where those cases are, the Sonny, Santos, and Wilson cases before Judge Kogan are our motion to amend our complaint is still pending with him. He's not granted the motion. He's not denied the motion. It's fully briefed and it's still pending. So that's where those 3 cases are. Okay, So I guess I can jump into question and answers now. There's been some developments in the news with respect to immigration, but I'm not the expert on the specific developments that have happened. So I'm not going to be the one to talk about them. There's lots of attorneys who do lives that know a lot more about different little sections of the immigration system. And I recommend you don't just watch just me to find out all, because the majority of the people that come to me for a consult, I send to the person who can do a better job for them. Most immigration attorneys only do this narrow slice. They do this, that they do what they're good at, right? Okay. Questions and answers. James is first on the scene. He says, good evening. Good evening, James. Good to see you. Adakiri says DV 2021, which is a very frustrating thing for me to read because it's 2023 and 2 years have gone by, and I've always said, don't type just DV 2021, because DV 2021, most of those journeys are over. The only situation where your journey would not be over for DV 2021 is if you were a good luck plaintiff, because Judge Mehta reserved 6,914 visas for us for good luck plaintiffs, or if you were waiting on an embassy that was designated in Judge Chutkan's order in Ray versus Biden. If you just type DV 2021, I don't know if you're in one of those situations or if your journey's already over, and we know that. Okay. He said, any news? If you're talking about you're in one of those two situations and you're waiting on the appeal, as I said at the beginning of the hour, we don't have an update on that. Like we're still waiting on the outcome of the appeal. Okay. Question from YouTube. We have problems to reschedule an immigration interview appointment in the U.S. consulate in Ankara, Turkey. Okay. That does not surprise me because Turkey has lots of problems. Despite our efforts checking the consulate website, we are unable to secure an immigration interview appointment. We are waiting for more than 15 months. Can you help us? Reschedule. That means you missed an interview. And I'm so glad you asked this question to educate everyone else. Do not miss your immigrant visa interview, because rescheduling could put you in this situation, and you want to avoid this situation. It's not, I've heard another influencer call it like a hair appointment. It is serious. Either you show up or you better have a reason why you did not show up. Okay. So we are waiting for more than 15 months. Can you help us? If you hire us to represent you in consular processing, we charge $2,000 for that, whether you decide to do it in the beginning or whether you decide to do it in the end, even after the interview. That's what we charge. So I've always wondered why people don't hire us sooner to get more bang for their buck, more value for what we offer, right? But if you want us to take over communication with the NVC and KCC, we charge $2,000 for that. Well, one thing you might want to consider doing, though, is Yerevan or another U.S. embassy that does not have Ankara's backlog, which would not be Islamabad or Abu Dhabi because they have comparable backlogs. Save DV 2020. Okay. That's not a question. I get it, Alex. We're waiting on the outcome of the appeal. Eduardo says, hello, Mr. Morrison. Hello, Eduardo. The cute little avatar you have there. Okay. Flora says, save good luck DV 2021. Yes, I agree. It's not up to us right now. The next step comes from the 3-judge panel of the Circuit Court of Appeals for the District Court of Columbia. Adakiri says, I am a good luck plaintiff. Okay, that is great. So don't come to me again, Adakari, and type DV 2021. Next time, say I want an update in good luck, and it'll save me time. So good luck. We're waiting on the outcome of the appeal. Okay, that's where we are. Eduardo says, I'm surprised why you did not inform the judge that the lottery is limited to a period of time and that the rest of the categories are not limited by time. Well, Eduardo, I am surprised that you think that happened. Because if you read, I don't know what your DV year is. I don't know if you're a plaintiff in a case. Have you told us that? But I have never filed a lawsuit on behalf of a diversity visa selectee without informing the judge when the fiscal year ends and the consequences to the DV applicant. Okay. So you have nothing to be surprised about because what you're saying there is not true. You'll have to let me know what case you are a plaintiff in, and I'll post a link. I'll show you where we told the judge that. Of course, most judges are not dumb. They already know that. The government doesn't argue with it either. A complaint, you put in allegations that the government does not concede. You're making arguments for what you want that the government doesn't agree with. This is something, the end of the fiscal year is September 30th. That's not in dispute. Everybody knows that. Judges all know that. Okay. Anna says, hello. Eduardo says, we trust your team, but he should end this case. So what more does he want? What is not enough? I don't know who he is in your thing there. Yes, correct judge even mentioned that to the government that they can issue the visa for DVs before September. Yes. I still don't know what year DV you are or whether you were a plaintiff in a lawsuit. So I don't know what we're talking about. I guess general. Edicard says, thanks. Eduardo says, give us a final decision for DV 2020. We are waiting a third year after winning. I think you're waiting for a fourth year because DV 2020 selectees were entered the lottery in 2018, October, November 2018, and were notified in March or May of 2019. So more than 3 years. So anyway, give us a final decision. I'm not the judge. I'm an attorney. I represent many DV 2020 selectees, right at about 1,000 families, about 1,100, 1,200 families. There are many, many more DV 2020 selectees out there who are GOMA's class members who I don't represent, but I'm not the one that makes the decision on the appeal. That's the 3-judge panel of the Circuit Court for the District of Columbia. Question for Telegram. Regarding the July visa bulletin, does the 8-month movement in F1 dates for filing indicate any upcoming movement? I do not have any speculation about that. I think that trying to predict the visa bulletin is like trying to read tea leaves, or, it's just not something that I do. Sad says, what happened to the Islamabad case? Okay, you're talking about Naveed versus Blinken. Somebody that works for me that's watching this, please text me an update on how many of those plaintiffs have not been issued visas, because I think about half have and half haven't. So our case continues. The government filed a motion to dismiss. It's fully briefed. We're waiting on the judge to issue an order on that motion. Also, with my other law firm, I filed a subsequent case that's similar to that case in the Eastern District of California, that you might want to keep an eye on that case because it makes the similar legal challenges to the Secretary Blinken's prioritization of like non-immigrants over immigrants, and also like his grant of authority to the civil chief to determine which visa categories to issue visas to. And finally, the staffing decisions that said it's okay to staff all the embassies except Islamabad. So great question. Is the Kennedy case still alive? Lamine, that's a great question, because the Kennedy case, as you know, was a related case to Gomez, and we won summary judgment in the Kennedy case. So as far as the lawsuit itself, we won. So it says it's closed, right? But the case has been appealed. The victory has been appealed by the Biden administration, and we're waiting on the outcome of that appeal. So until we have the outcome of that appeal, then that order, because there's a stay on the case, Judge Mehta put a stay on the implementation of the order. Those visas, those reserved visas, 9,095 visas for the Gomez class cannot be issued until the outcome of the appeal is positive. So that's the status. Technically, every once in a while, I have somebody that's a Kennedy plaintiff that says, hey, my life's moved on. Will you withdraw me from the lawsuit? And it's funny because I actually cannot do that, because you can't change who the parties are in a lawsuit after you win. And we've already won the DV 2020 cases. After you get a final judgment, we already got the final judgment. So we're just waiting on the outcome of the appeal. Okay. Sergi says, hi, Morrison, long time. Yes, it has been a long time since I've talked with you. I hope you're doing well. And I hope that you're doing well. Yeah. Okay, I'm out of questions. So if you have a question, you better drop it right now. If you think of a question later, you can always go to our website. Let me pull that up. MorrisonUrena.com and go over here to About Us. No, that's our pictures. More, where's Contact Us? Oh, it's probably under More. Probably should move that. Contact Us. Yeah. Go to Contact Us. And the best way to reach me on Telegram or WhatsApp, you click on here, you can get me on Telegram or WhatsApp. Best way to reach Raphael, Telegram or WhatsApp, right here. Actually, I think he prefers the phone. But if you need to speak in an alternative language because you're more comfortable with that, here's our 3 Arabic speakers. Here's our Farsi speaker, Farshad. French. Hussein knows some French. I know a little French, but not enough. Gomez knows some German, and also she knows Kazakh and she knows Russian. Raphael knows Portuguese, and Gladys is our Spanish paralegal, Spanish-speaking paralegal. So if ever you need to get a hold of us with a question and you don't want to wait until Let's Talk Immigration on Wednesdays, that's how you do it. And let's see if any more questions popped up. Yeah, Sergi said, is there any more chance to Project Voyager fail? Interesting question. So Project Voyager had two parts to that mission, right? The first part is we were going to lobby Congress to see if Congress could solve the DV 2020 problem. We did. We actually lobbied Congress to see if they could solve the DV 2021 problem too. We spent over, Morrison Urena spent over $100,000 lobbying Congress to solve the 2020 and 2021 problems. In the midst of that, Congress changed, and it is very unlikely that Congress will solve any problem, much less this problem. So it became futile to even try. And so we stopped trying, okay? So that part of Project Voyager, the lobbying that we did, it turns out that that was not fruitful. It was helpful, though, to have that relationship with our lobbyist. You'll remember it was Bruce Morrison who actually drafted the law for the DV program when he was in Congress, and he's kind of like the father of the DV program, the godfather, I guess. And it was helpful to have his advice and guidance throughout the litigation. Some of the arguments we make were inspired by him, actually. So it was money well spent because it helped to have his guidance. But as far as the part of like, did we move Congress? We didn't. I'm not hopeful that Congress will solve this problem or any problem. in the near future. Now, second part of Project Voyager was we are going to support you in consular processing. That means support you in getting your interview scheduled because you are our client now. So for the 200 people that were part of Project Voyager, we still know who you are, and we will track you down when we get a positive order a positive opinion in the appeal where DV 2020 visas are being issued. We will support you and try to get you scheduled for visas. Okay, we're going to treat you just like you were a plaintiff in Kennedy, Mohammed, or Fangjong. I said those out of order. Mohammed, Fangjong, or Kennedy. You are our client, and we are going to support you in that consular processing. I think a lot of people think that the State Department is on their side and that consular processing is easy. It's not, a great deal of people go to interview and they are given a refusal for something that they didn't see coming, and they need help navigating that. And if you want us there to support you, you've made the right decision in being a Project Voyager client. Now, we are not accepting any more 2020 clients. I get asked this every day. Will you take me as a client, DV 2020 or DV 2021, DV 2022? No, not even DV 2023. Right now, we're not even taking DV 2023 clients because we were taking clients for consular processing, but you know what? It's now everybody's kind of locked in their future. And then we were taking clients for AP mandamus lawsuits, but you got to file those early in the fiscal year. Can't wait till September. So at this point, the only clients for DV clients that Morrison Urena is taking is we will talk to DV 2024 clients about like adjustment of status if they're inside the U.S. or consular processing if you wanted us to guide you through that whole route, right? So hope that answers your question. Okay. Sergio says, any speculation for executive action for Biden? No. I have no speculation about executive action for Biden. I think old man is asleep. I don't even think he realizes that we sued him and won and that he's appealing our orders. I don't even think he knows that. So, okay. It looks like we don't have any more questions. So short show today, 23 minutes. That's all right. Next week we'll have a longer show. Breaking Naveed update. Wow, my team is so cool. 2 interviewed and the other 3 in AP. 2 still at NBC. Wow. So we started with 10 plaintiffs and only 2 are still at NBC. That's Naveed. Now, some of those, I will say that some of those, possibly all, but some of those, it was because they would have been scheduled anyway because they had very old DQ dates and very old priority dates. Both of those are factors. I don't think it's true with one of them, but because one thing when we do a group lawsuit, I don't know how to stop this painter, but it's okay. When we do a group lawsuit, the government is always going to cherry pick a couple of the plaintiffs, maybe one, and give us what we want and make it seem like they're the good actor, because that makes their briefing before the judge a lot smoother. If they can say, look, judge, we're trying, look, we already issued Fred's visa, so it's just, how can you be lucky enough to be Fred? I don't know. But that's one of the side effects of a group lawsuit. They might decide to fight the lawsuit, but for them to fight it and not look like jerks, they're going to make progress on 1 or 2 cases. And in this case, I think that they did, but we still, not all plaintiffs in Naveed have been issued visas. And so we're not dismissing that case. We're going to continue to wait for the judge's order on the government's motion to dismiss. I did get a last minute question over here from Tony. Why a judge is still not responding, announcing his decision for almost 2 years about Good Luck DV 2021 plaintiff case? Well, Tony, it's a 3-judge panel at the Circuit Court of Appeals for the District Court of Columbia that is holding things up right now. They have hundreds of cases. Most of them are less complicated than this one, and they are in the best position to manage their docket and issue orders on the cases in front of them. We are not in a position, especially if you're my client, of questioning the judge's ability to manage their docket. If you want to be angry at somebody, be angry at the Biden administration for appealing the order, right? If you have friends or family in the U.S. who are green card holders or U.S. citizens, make sure that they have told Biden that that is not making them happy. I mean, ultimately, Biden's running for re-election. He needs to know from the people that were supposed to vote for him that they might not because of what he does. Okay. Salim says DV21, rewind to the beginning and you'll get an update on that. Saad says, thank you for the Islamabad case update. You're welcome. Faisal says, please do something as attorneys try to contact the court or something. We don't want our case to take more than 1 year in Circuit Court of Appeals. We don't want, okay, here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to lose my license by badgering the court about, I want my opinion now in front of other people's opinions. That's not going to happen. Okay. Courts have procedures. We follow those procedures. That's why we get to continue being lawyers. You can't come in and say your case is more important than every other case when you don't even know anything about those other cases. That's why the judges are in the best position to manage their dockets, and we don't want to second guess them. Okay. You say you don't want your case to be like Al-Makrami. Well, I understand that, but understand that Al-Makrami was the very first case in the history of DVs where a court said that DVs could be reserved past the fiscal year. So Al-Makrami was a pioneer. I mean, like it was a novel, like the first thing something happened. That's not bad. Let's be the first time that we get a whole bunch of visas, that are reserved, issued. So I understand your frustration, Faisal, but do not take it out on the court. I don't want anything to do with that. Okay. She says, do you have any idea when the Islamabad embassy sends interview letters to F4 category DQ since April 8th, 2020? Not off the top of my head. That's something that if you text me, I might look around and see if I can figure it out. There are several Telegram and WhatsApp groups that look at that data so close because they actually believe that these cases are scheduled in a very specific order according to an algorithm. I would say that I don't subscribe to that belief religiously. I think that the State Department's not that organized. Okay, so there we go. 30 minutes. It's good. Good show. Good show. See you all next Wednesday for episode 36 of Let's Talk Immigration. And happy July 4th if you missed it.